The sky over New York tore open, not with jittery, but with a deeper darkness. From the void emerged a figure of pure, terrifying power. The Avengers assembled, but fear gripped them. This was Darth Sidious, and his smile promised annihilation. He would show them true power before the first minute ended. Thor summoned a storm, lightning crackling around Mjolnir. "Face the power of Asgard, creature," he roared. Sidious simply raised a gnarled hand, his yellow eyes gleaming with amusement. The lightning bent to his will, arcing harmlessly around his form. The god of thunder was but a child playing with sparks. "All teams, engage!" Captain America yelled, shield raised. But Sidious moved like a phantom. He ignored the shield, a wave of his hand sending Steve crashing into a wall. The super soldier was down, his determination useless against this unseen force. Iron Man's repulsors flared to life, unleashing a full barrage. "Eat repulsor tech, ugly!" The energy bolts converged on the Sith Lord. Sidious ignited his crimson lightsaber, a blistering hum filling the air. He deflected every blast with contemptuous ease, redirecting one into a nearby building. The Hulk landed with a ground-shattering roar, his fist aimed to pulverize. Sidious did not retreat. Instead, he met the charge with a palm outstretched. A storm of violet lightning erupted, engulfing the green giant. The Hulk screamed, not in rage, but in genuine, shocking agony. The Force lightning did not cease. It held the Hulk aloft, convulsing him violently. This was not physical pain, but an assault on his very spirit. The strongest Avenger was being systematically broken, his rage meaningless against this Darkside torture. Black Widow and Hawkeye provided covering fire, their efforts valiant but futile. Sidious's free hand flicked outward. An invisible wave of telekinetic power slammed into them, throwing them like ragdolls. They crashed through a storefront, motionless. The baseline humans were instantly neutralized. Scarlet Witch's chaos magic erupted next, red tendrils of reality warping energy snaking toward the Emperor. "You will not win," she stated, her power flaring. Sidious laughed, a dry, rasping sound. He absorbed her hexes into his own being, his darkness consuming her light. "Your pain gives you power, child," he hissed, his voice a psychic dagger in her mind. "But your grief makes you weak." He unleashed a mental assault, overwhelming her with visions of Pietro's death. Wanda fell to her knees, screaming, utterly neutralized by her own trauma. Doctor Strange opened a shimmering portal behind the Sith Lord, his cloak of levitation billowing. "By the Vishanti, you'll be contained." Eldritch bands of energy shot forth. Sidious simply vanished, reappearing in a blur of speed directly behind the Sorcerer Supreme. "Your tricks are quaint," Sidious whispered. Before Strange could react, a lightsaber slashed through the air. The cloak of levitation was severed, falling limp. A powerful force choke lifted Strange, cutting off his incantations. Magic required focus, and he had none. Vision phased through the ground, his solar jewel glowing intensely. He prepared to fire a massive energy beam. Sidious sensed his synthetic life instantly. "You are a hollow machine," he declared, and unleashed a torrent of Force lightning. The lightning did not harm vibranium. Instead, it overloaded Vision's complex neural networks. He spasmed, his phasing ability failing, and crashed to the ground. The Mind Stone flickered erratically. He was a supercomputer facing an irresistible virus. One by one, the Avengers had fallen. Sidious stood amidst the wreckage, his breathing calm. He extended his senses, feeling the terror of the entire city. This fear was a banquet to him, fueling his power even further. This was not a fight, it was a demonstration. He approached the struggling Thor, who was trying to rise. Sidious kicked Mjolnir aside as if it were a stone. He looked down at the Asgardian. "You call yourself a god? You are but a mortal with a pretty hammer." He unleashed lightning upon the god himself. Iron Man, his suit heavily damaged, launched a final, desperate missile. Sidious caught it with the Force, holding it mid-air. He turned it slowly, pointing it back at its center. "A fitting end, in your own tin can," he rasped, before detonating it. The explosion sent Tony Stark flying, his armor now a smoldering, immobilized prison. He could only watch helplessly as the Dark Lord surveyed his handiwork. The genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist had been utterly and humiliatingly outclassed. Sidious now turned his attention to the captured Scarlet Witch. He used the Force to lift her, draining her magical energy to augment his own. Her red glow was siphoned away, leaving her pale and weak. He was feeding on their power, growing stronger. He then did the same to Doctor Strange, siphoning the latent mystical energy that clung to him. The Sith Lord's form seemed to grow darker, more potent. He was not just defeating them, he was consuming their very potential for his own dark purposes. "You fought for a fragile peace," Sidious announced, his voice amplified by the Force to echo across the city. "I bring a lasting order. Your era of heroes is over. The Galactic Empire begins today on this pathetic world." He used the Force to lift the wrecked Avengers, piling them together as a grim monument. Captain America, trapped under his own shield. Thor, bruised and beaten. Hulk, reverted to an unconscious Bruce Banner. A symbol of his absolute victory. From his robes, he produced a Sith holocron. He activated it, and it began projecting schematics into the sky, plans for a Star Destroyer. This was not just an invasion, it was a colonization. He would industrialize their world. In orbit, Sith loyalists began arriving in dagger-shaped ships. They bombarded key global landmarks, not to destroy, but to shatter morale. The pyramids of Giza, the Eiffel Tower, all were hit. The world's spirit broke in an instant. Back on the ground, Nick Fury watched from a hidden shield bunker. He had never seen such one-sided destruction. He reached for his pager, the one for Captain Marvel, but a shadow fell over him. A red lightsaber ignited in the dark. The Avengers were not just defeated, they were erased as a symbol. Hope itself was extinguished. Sidious established his throne in the ruins of Stark Tower, his yellow eyes watching as his fleet darkened the sky. Resistance was a forgotten concept. Deep underground, in a sealed lab, a backup protocol activated. An LMD life model decoy of Tony Stark flickered to life. It accessed the global network, seeing the devastation. "Okay, Plan B," it whispered to the empty room. "We need the big guns." The LMD initiated the failsafe protocol, a signal meant for every enhanced individual on the planet. But it also reached further, into the quantum realm and beyond. It was a desperate, final SOS from a dead Earth. Meanwhile, Sidious felt a disturbance. A power, ancient and vast, stirred in a hidden land. He turned his gaze towards Africa. "What is this?" he mused. "There is another here who dares to challenge me?" In Wakanda, the heart-shaped herb reacted to the planetary threat. The spirit of the Black Panther, the protector of Earth, surged through the ancestral plane. A new king, Shuri, felt a call to duty unlike any before. At the same time, a sorcerer in Kamartaj, Wong, gathered every remaining mystic. They began a unified chant, not to attack, but to shield the planet from Sidious's Darkside influence. They would protect the world's soul. The signal also reached the depths of space. The Guardians of the Galaxy picked up the distress call. "Earth?" Peter Quill said, looking at the data. "That's my home planet. Turn the ship around, now." Back in New York, Sidious confronted this new resistance. He faced Shuri, her Black Panther suit glowing with purple energy. "A child in a cat costume," he mocked, unleashing his lightning. To his shock, her suit absorbed the energy. Wong opened a massive portal above the city, and hundreds of sorcerers stepped through. They created a unified shield of golden light, pushing back against the Darkside aura. For the first time, Sidious was forced to take a defensive stance. The Sith Lord was enraged. "You insects dare?" He gathered his power for a planet-shattering force storm. But a new presence arrived. Captain Marvel, her body glowing with cosmic energy, slammed into him like a shooting star. The impact was tremendous, throwing Sidious across the battlefield. He rose, his face a mask of fury. "You possess power," he conceded, "but you lack the will to use it absolutely." He engaged her in a blindingly fast duel. It was not enough. The combined might of Wakandan technology, global sorcery, and cosmic power was a threat. Sidious realized he could not dominate this world through sheer force alone. Not yet. He needed a new strategy. He retreated to his ship, but not in defeat. "This world has proven resilient," he communicated to his fleet. "Initiate World Devastator protocols. We will mine this planet for resources until nothing remains." The true horror began. The Avengers, battered but not broken, were rescued and given aid. They had lost the first battle, and the war had changed. They were no longer fighting for victory, but for the very survival of the Earth itself. As the Devastators began their work, the heroes stood together. Captain America lifted his shield. "We've faced extinction before," he said, his voice firm. "We don't give up. We regroup. We find a way. Together." The fight was